Do you have a child with maybe some learning challenges? You know what? I know that we have different sort of terms for those, and different labels. Sometimes we like to say like disabilities or anything like that. I like to just use challenges or learning issues. When we have that, sometimes we're looking at like, oh, what can I be doing to best support them? Like what is right for them? Should they be in school? Like, should I bring them home? And often when we have kids like this, we see a lot of self-esteem issues or like just some struggles that they even like have at school. Like I'm special education trained and I have worked with children for years on this, for many of them, working one-on-one to just really like as a learning coach to help them, and the number one thing I always said was a number doesn't define you. Your label doesn't define you. Our brains all work in amazing ways, and we just have to find the way that works best for you. And so maybe you've come here and you're like going, I have a child who has dyslexia, and I'm wondering whether I should homeschool them. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life, and thank you so much for watching today. This is something that is just very close to my heart. It has been for children that have like learning issues and just those struggles and those challenges. It has been something that I've always just wanted to draw alongside and say, hey, I'm here with you. You've got this. I believe in you. And I know for some families, they're choosing to homeschool their children who have some of these issues because of what they can bring for their child. All kids learn in different ways. There is no one right way to be learning. But we do know without a doubt that children with dyslexia learn differently, and therefore they need to be taught differently. And being home can be great for them. What a great way that we can support them. Now, it's not necessarily easy, but it is definitely worthwhile. And maybe you've been thinking about it and it's like, oh, I want to be homeschooling. Like, I really just don't know. Like, is this right for them? There are so many great and wonderful ways that we can be homeschooling. Some of these videos is a great way to start. And I want to say thank you so much for your watching, your likes and your subscribes. Hey, if you know of anyone that this might be helpful for, why not share it with them? But I also want to say that I do have a course on how to homeschool because this is my heart, especially for kids who are learning differently. Well, how can we best support them? So check out the link below that will take you to give you some more information that you could be learning how to homeschool. Okay, so homeschooling dyslexia, is it good? Yes. Yes, it is. I really do think that it is something that is so worthwhile. And I really want to have a look at that. As I said, it might not necessarily be easy. Nothing ever really is. But it can be so advantageous for our children and can definitely be worthwhile. Reasons why it is good. So here are a few reasons why homeschooling can be great for a child with dyslexia. We can tailor the instruction to them. Many of our children, especially if it's written instructions, are going to struggle because of trying to draw out the meaning. We're spending so much time concentrating on making sure that we get the words right. So as parents in homeschooling, we can be reading the instructions to them. We can be helping them out with that, tailoring what they need. Because this is what I love, individualized education. And this can be so great. We can also set a flexible pace for them, especially in schools, we can have this time crunch and we've got to get it done within a certain amount of time. When we bring them home, we don't have to be worried about that time. We can be flexible. We can take the breaks that we need. We can say, you don't have to, do it all right now. You can break it up or take the time that you need, because I would rather that you feel good about it rather than feel frantic. I've got to get it done in a certain amount of time. And this really leads into a positive environment. Okay, this is a great thing that we can be building them up. A number doesn't define you. Reading struggles, they don't define you. Your brain is amazing. Let's help you with that because we want to build them up for it. So bringing like homeschooling, dyslexia really can be like positive for them. And that is great reason to be homeschooling. We also can reduce the distractions. Okay, if you've ever been in a classroom, you might remember back in the past, like that noise that is around there. And if you were trying to focus on something, especially something that maybe you don't understand and you need that help, those distractions can be hard. But when they are reduced, it is so much more peaceful. Learning happens so much easier. Have you noticed that? We get so much more done when we don't have distractions. So another great reason. And again, that individual attention, being able to focus, to lock eyes and say, oh, you need this, you need me right now, I can give that to you. One of my daughters struggles a little bit like with reading. Sometimes I get concerned and other times I think, really, you just don't want to really try, but we're looking at that. But really, she loves to snuggle up like with me and just having this reading time together. She loves that attention. It helps like with her reading. It helps me to see like where she is at. But, I can give that to her, and that is such a great thing. And you can do that for your child too. We're really putting in some like real life applications because, nothing has to be just stuck at their desk. We can be doing some major things that are out there. This is how it works here. This is how it works there. We want that. And we also get to reduce social pressure. Okay, I'm going to say it. Kids can be mean. And especially if they feel that a child is different or maybe struggling, they will hone in on that. Oh, as a teacher, it was always my number one, but if we don't have this pressure of trying to compete, and grades get handed out, like, here's the paper. Oh, what did you get? What did you get? What did you get? Oh, if we can remove that from our child and it's like, hey, I love how well you tried. Great job, you're learning. This is so much better when we can take that all away. So there are some great reasons to be homeschooling a child with dyslexia. It is truly rich and it's rewarding. And it's such a great thing that we can be doing to help our children. How to help at home. So I want to give you some strategies to consider, okay? Especially if you're homeschooling your child with dyslexia, strategies are always good. They always help. I always said that as a learning coach, have your strategy. Really, the first thing that we need to do is to understand dyslexia. It is one thing to say, my child has dyslexia, they struggle to read. And it is another thing to go, oh, this is how the brain works. Oh, this is what it is. This is what they need. If you can truly understand dyslexia and understand, like with anything, there is like a whole range from extreme, like really struggle to just sort of like light. When we know it, we can then step in and truly help our children. We want to give them multisensory instruction, okay? So it's not just reading, okay? We want things that they can hear, things that they can be doing. If we really get that hands-on, that multisensory approach, this is very, very helpful for children who have dyslexia. We're really going to make the most, especially like of hearing. This is going to be great for them. We want to have a structured literacy approach. It sounds like funny, a structured literacy approach. No, but what this is, it's like, so when our reading, we want to have that structure to help them build up. There are some great programs out there that can really help you. I would encourage you to have a look at them because, they're all a little different, just like every child is, and to find the one that is right for you. To go, okay, this is how we're going to approach our reading. This is how we're going to get better at it. And to have that is going to be extremely helpful. You want to make the most of the assistive technology. I love this. What a day and age that we have of this. Things like audiobooks. Oh my goodness, to be able to like sort of read along while you're hearing it. I always encourage, don't just listen to it, but at times like, let's try to read along so we're getting that connection. We have, smartphones now that we can record things. We've got talk to text. And I know like for kids that I've worked with, it's been like, hey, I know that you really struggle to type it. Why don't you tell me your essay? I will type it out. Or, getting them to record it and then, taking the time. There are so many things that we can be using and we should be using to help our children with dyslexia. We do want to break tasks into smaller steps. Honestly, I think this is great for everybody, but especially for children with dyslexia, if it's involving reading, we want to break it down, okay? Smaller chunks that we can do, building it back up. Again, really with many of the kids that I've worked with, it's always been, let's break this down into the smaller things. Let's get this done before we move on. It really just helps to build that confidence. We do want that individualized pace. Remember, we're not, especially if we have several children in the family, we're doing this particular thing right now. We don't want to be setting up your child that is struggling to be going like, oh, but they're finished now. No. This is you. You take your time. This is great. This is why we can homeschool, that flexibility, that individualized pace. Now, you might have to adapt curriculum and materials. Okay, yes, especially if you have chosen a curriculum that has a lot of reading, you will have to do a lot of adaptation. But there is great curriculum out there for more of our auditory learners. And so I feel that those can be great for our children with dyslexia. The more listening that we're doing is going to be helpful. We can't get away with not reading. But, if we've got something that is extremely helpful or that we can adapt for them, then this is great. And get involved in that hands-on learning, things that we can be doing. Again, and this ties in with the multisensory approach because we're learning, we're pulling apart, we are taking in more. There are also support services, okay? If you've got some in your area that you can be using, then use them. They can be very helpful for you as a parent with ideas that you could be doing in your homeschooling with your child to really build them up and making sure that they are getting to where they need to be. And also, let's work on that self-confidence. I have seen it with kids when they just are struggling and they just, I don't know, it breaks my heart that, because of those struggles, the negative thoughts are just so quick and loud for them. But if we can build that up, like, look at what you did. Like, I just remember one child, had this stack of vocab that he had to learn, but he did so well on the test, and to watch him go, you know what, I studied and I tried and look at how well I did. You know what, these are things that we can be doing. Like, that's always again, I don't care what you get on the test. I really don't. I care that we are moving forward. I care that you are learning. I care that you feel good about what you are doing. And so really use that as a strategy in homeschooling your children, especially if they have a learning issue, especially if they have dyslexia. So yeah, it requires patience and flexibility because we know every child is unique. But when they can learn in a way that they learn best, with the support that they need, they are going to be set up for success. Okay, we don't have to write off education at all for them. It's I'm my husband's number one champion. I look at him. He has struggled with dyslexia, but he's also operating in a second language. And I look at the things that he has taught himself and the things that he has learned. We've adapted some things, but you know what? I'm always going to be his number one cheerleader on this. And you can be that for your child as well. We're going to do this. This is going to be great. This is the way that you learn, and they are going to be successful. Thank you once again for just watching today, for being part of this learning life. And so again, I just want to say, if you are interested in homeschooling but are wondering how to do it, check out the link below for my online course on how to homeschool. And if you are thinking about homeschooling your child with dyslexia and you have some questions, just shoot them down below. But if you also want to help get videos out like this, you can. We do that as being a champion because you are a champion. And you can check that out at patreon.com or at my website, LearningThis.Life.